So what you want to talk about first?
Well, we should talk about the Groundhog Day movie you saw.
I wish I just went to go see Groundhog Day.
True, because I did get a sweet free poster for it. This is a
Does that have anything to do with the plot?
In as much as I'm getting tired of titles like this.
God, she's even crying in this one.
She does in the movie too. It's a big spoiler.
I'm falling, you guys.
Not really. Like,
I'm about to fall.
anytime there's a title like this, like Before I Fall, Before I Wake, If I Stay, My Soul to Take. It's like, I'm gonna forget which is which after like a fucking week.
Welcome to my world.
God damn. Yeah, so it was fantastic. Just because I saw the stack of posters standing there, and this was fantastic because I said to the guy, I was like, "Are those posters free?" And he just looks and goes, "Do you want one?" I'm like, yes.
Would I have asked if I didn't?
I was just, checking for a friend. So I'm walking, and I wasn't the only one in that theater, but I was the only 35-year-old man who's seeing it by himself with a fucking poster for it, dressed like Luke Danes Jr. with a Bugs Bunny hat. It's
representing your unshakable demographic.
Yeah. I'm representing the "so Brian was busy, huh?" demographic. Or there were 2 other movies on Thursday, weren't they? Look, it's Mean Girls meets Groundhog Day. That's exactly what this movie is.
Uh-huh.
It's not a comedy. It's a YA movie, and it looks like one. It's not a poorly made film. It's what's her name? She's Zoe Deutsch, the girl. She's Leah Thompson's daughter and looks exactly like her.
Uh-huh.
She's from Why Him and Everybody Wants Some and a few other things. So she's in with these 3 other girls in the movie, and they're the mean girls, like they're calling everyone a bitch, telling the artsy girl to go kill herself and shit like that.
Trying to make fetch a thing.
Yeah. And they go to a party, and they all get into a car accident, and our lead character wakes up and repeats the same day over and over again until she learns a valuable lesson.
Just don't be mean.
Which is don't be mean. I love how, like, in Groundhog Day, it's like, I have a feeling this was going on for, like, 10 years.
It took us enough time for him to learn how to play the piano, learn how to chainsaw sculpt, learn every single minutia second by second that would happen in that diner. Like 10 years at least.
Yeah, in this, it's seriously like about probably 5 days or so, and enough to know, like, look, maybe don't throw liquor on the art girl who's clearly suicidal. Like, it takes repeating the day 5 times in order to do that. I like it.
It takes 5 tries to learn to not be a monster.
It does. She's not even the biggest monster in the movie, because she seems to be kind of the one who, like, okay, she probably does have a little bit of a conscience. She just has shitty friends or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why is she the one who has to learn a valuable lesson in all of this? Like, it really seems like, once she's out of high school and away from these horrible friends, she'll probably be fine. I like how I like that this movie has narration to really kind of just, like, hold your hand through it and everything. Meaning she'll wake up and the narration will be like, my God, I'm repeating the same day again.
What?
Like, oh, thanks. It does that every single time.
Shine campers, don't forget your booties because it's cold out there.
It does take place on a holiday. It does. It takes place on
Arbor Day?
Cupid Day? Is that a thing? Like, I mean, I was like, are they not allowed to say Valentine's Day? But then they do. I don't know if this is taking place on Valentine's Day.
Sample like Google.
Or is it like, did they maybe figure this movie wouldn't be out in time for Valentine's Day, so they called it... I don't know if Cupid Day is just some modern school thing or something, but it's Valentine's Day. They're giving each other flowers in class and everything, so she has to repeat Cupid Day.
Yeah, I think they might have made it up for this movie.
I don't know why. Like, so okay, she's repeating Cupid Day over and over again. I like at the halfway point in the movie where the narration comes in and says, like, I'm just gonna do what I want. So she goes to school dressed like a stripper and starts hitting on the teacher.
How does that go?
her love interest who's sitting behind her slips her a note, and the note says, "This isn't you." When I was sitting there watching this movie, I was thinking like, okay, I'm not the audience for this. So I was thinking like, well, just stay home and watch Groundhog Day. I mean, there's things that have done that before, but have made it somewhat original, like Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, that makes it feel more like it's just kind of a literal like video game movie as opposed to something kind of like Groundhog Day. This really feels like Groundhog Day, but again, for the YA crowd. So I'm thinking like, well, okay, the audience that this is geared towards, okay, maybe they haven't seen Groundhog Day or something like that, so this movie is made for them. But again, I'm like, just watch Groundhog Day.
I'll be honest, this conversation is making me really want to watch Groundhog Day, because I haven't watched it since I watched it on VHS.
That's like that movie holds up. That movie's a classic.
I can imagine that it hasn't. I said I can't imagine that it hasn't held up.
Oh yeah, it absolutely holds up. This it's a well acted movie. It is well acted. It's even well shot. The musical score is pretty good. Like, listening to the musical score, I was like, I think someone's a big Tangerine Dream fan. Like, even the opening narration and with the music playing behind it, I was thinking like, this is someone's also a big Risky Business fan. Because the opening couple minutes, like, the soundtrack was kind of similar.
The like greasy 80s music seems to be coming back into vogue. So I noticed it in a couple of the previews that we got, and then I noticed it as well in the movie we saw.
Yeah, even like that last Divergent movie, I remember thinking like, this has a pretty good sound. I mean, it's not a very good movie, but it's got a really good synth score going on in it. I think the people behind M83 did the soundtrack for that. I don't know if they did this either. If they did, it wouldn't surprise me. And when it gets to the end, I'll just jump right to the end of this movie.
I'm not yawning like at your retelling of the movie.
Believe me, there's not much to say about this. I'll jump right to when it got to the end, it turns out like kind of all of this is going on because of this girl who commits suicide at the school. She's like the shy art kid that everybody picks on, and she used to be friends with a lot of them, but then in high school she's not anymore. And it turns out the reason why this car accident happened is because that girl threw herself in front of it, and so just the day is just kind of repeated again. And so by the end of it, when it's the last day, it's what you would expect. The main character is, she tells her creepy boyfriend to fuck off. She kisses the nice guy in the movie. She makes peace with her mom and all this. And then she wants to stop this girl from committing suicide, which she's also tried to a couple of times earlier in the movie. And so when she's talking to her at the end, the acting is really good in this movie. It is. It does kind of elevate it a little bit. And so when it got to the end, I was sitting there thinking like, well, you know what? I mean, this isn't the most original film in the world. It's going to be something I'm going to forget. But I was like, you know, the message of it's not that bad. And then the last 30 seconds of the movie happened. Because I'm sitting there more than once in this repeated day. I was like, why doesn't she just tackle the girl before she jumps into this truck that's jumping in front of her? But even at the end of it, like, okay, so I'm thinking like, okay, so she's gonna save this girl's life and everyone's cool, everyone's happy right now, fine. So the girl still runs out to the car, but then the lead character runs after her, pushes her out of the way, and then she gets hit. Like, the main character gets hit by the car and dies. And so I'm sitting there going like, why does anybody have to die? Like,
so it's ultimately Donnie Darko.
Yeah, kinda. Like, I'm like, why does anybody have to die in this story? I don't know. And if anyone's gonna die, why isn't it the other, like, bitchy best friend girl who's, this whole movie is her entire fault? Like, the other girl in one of the side characters in it, who it turns out, like, that's the reason why this suicidal girl is so depressed, because she blamed bedwetting on her and things like that, and just this slew of horrible things that this other person has done. I'm like, why does either person need to die for this other random girl's bullshit? So, at the end, again, there's a narration going on, and the ghost of our lead character is standing there watching this. Suicidal girl is standing over and saying over the dead body, going like, I can't believe it, you saved my life. And then the main character goes, "No, you saved mine."
Except she the opposite of that.
Thank you. I'm like, bullshit. You're fucking dead. And that's how it. That was the end of the movie. I'm like, I don't feel good about any of this. It's a Netflix watch, man. I mean,
Why would you even bother watching this movie?
I had nothing else to do today.
No, I mean, like, why would you bother watching this movie?
Because in terms of YA movies, of the genre that it's in, it's definitely not the worst. The acting is good. The music is good. Some of the characters are even fine. But
I feel like going in, if I knew that girl was gonna end up dying, every plot point I responded with, "Fuck you."
yeah, honestly, it is bullshit material that is elevated by the acting and even how it's made. Also, I used my AMC Stubs rewards to see this. It literally didn't cost me anything to see this except for 90 minutes of my time.
And the money you spent to reap those rewards.
Oh, well, I mean, I also got some Butterfingers after the movie.
Okay.
I played in the arcade for a
See,
little
about
bit.
broke even.
I mean, due today, Laura's at work, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go see a movie for 14-year-old girls. Sure.
That's your life.
It's, I mean, if you're curious about seeing this, there are way worse YA movies than this. There absolutely are. So if you're that curious, like, sure, maybe pop it up on Netflix and, like, give it a shot. It's like, if you last 2 days in this, 2 repeated days in this movie, and you're still kind of curious what happens next, okay, fine. Just watch Groundhog Day instead. That's Before I Fall. I had to look down and remind myself what the goddamn title was. But anyway.
No one's that cute when they cry, anyway. She's perfectly coiffed and just standing in the cold. There's like a one perfect tear rolling from the middle of her eye.
Well, I mean...
When I cry, it's like blotch, 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 blotch. Just... I pull my shirt up to wipe my eyes.
I have a feeling that is Leah Thompson. Like, she just sometime in, 1985, she got in the DeLorean and just went forward in time and now is doing YA movies.